During the National Day holiday, my mother-in-law wanted to get a bargain and insisted on signing up for a 7-day tour to India for 199 yuan. I returned the order without telling her and signed her up for a luxury tour group in Qingdao for 8,000 yuan. When my mother-in-law saw the composite photos of her best I sent me from abroad, she thought I was deliberately stopping her from seeing the outside world and pushed me down the stairs in a rage. My husband leaned that I didn't stand firmly, and when I opened my eyes again, I went back to the day I signed up for the tour group. This time I didn't stop my mother-in-law from signing up. I even persuaded her to sign up with her husband because I wanted to see how fun India was. Hey, son, your mother is going abroad to see the world this time. My mother-in-law came back from outside with a smile and told her husband the news of going abroad before she put down her things as soon as she entered the door. Why are you going abroad? Zhang Zhiwan didn't even raise his head, curled up on the sofa playing games. Hurry up, you idiot. It's a wave. Defeat the phone came with a failed sound. A bunch of idiots. If you can't play games, go back to farming. What are you playing? I can beat you with my toes. Zhang Zhuan was very angry and typed to the phone. At this time, I was resting in the bedroom and suddenly woke up. I looked at the familiar decorations around me and touched my body. There were no wounds. I was alive again, and tears gradually fell. I quickly took out my phone to check the time. It turned out that I was reborn to sign up for a tour group. In the previous life, my mother-in-law insisted on signing up for a low-price tour group to travel to India. I was worried that it was not safe, and I didn't care about my earnest persuasion. So I privately canceled my mother-in-law's order and rebooked her a luxury tour group in Qingdao. She went to Qingdao reluctantly and kept posting various travel photos in her circle of friends. I thought my mother-in-law was angry, but she pushed me down the stairs when she came back. She said that her best, i.e., was posting all kinds of photos of foreign countries, and she was sure that I didn't want her to see the world. After my husband came back, he didn't call an ambulance at the first time, but helped my mother-in-law erase all traces. In the end, I didn't wait for an ambulance. Since God has given me a chance, I will definitely make these two people pay the price in this life. I walked out of the room, sat on the sofa, and asked my mother-in-law, Mom, I just heard you say that traveling to India is very expensive, right? When money was mentioned, Zhang Zhuan raised his head. Yes, Mom, going abroad is too expensive. It's better to use that money to recharge my gang. Not expensive, not expensive. Dear Aunt Shang told me that there is a tour group now, and you can go to India for 7 days for only 199 yuan. The mother-in-law smiled and said, Oh, soon your mother will also be a worldly person. I heard that the air in India is very fresh, unlike here. Listening to the speech of the mother-in-law, I thought to myself, is the air in India fresh? I'm afraid that she will go out upright this time, and whether she can come back upright is another matter. And who said that the air in India is good? Sun Wukong has to come back horizontally when he goes there, and Dultraman has to shrink wherever he goes. Mom, isn't 199 yuan too cheap? Can he be a liar? Zhang Zhuang was also a little alert at this time. After speaking, he looked at me unmotionally to stop the mother-in-law from speaking. Looking at Zhang Zhiwan's face, I really don't know what I was thinking in my previous life. He himself knows that this kind of low-cost tour group is not trustworthy, and he still wants me to play the good guy. I ignored Zhang Zhuan's eyes and turned to look at my mother-in-law with a flattering face. Mom, this tour group is so cheap. It seems that your dream of going abroad is about to come true. I have never been abroad. Before I finished speaking, my mother-in-law interrupted me directly. Why do you, a woman, want to go abroad? What you have to do now is to make money to support us. I don't know how my mother-in-law managed to talk about being a gigolo so subtly, but this is not the time for me to tear my face with them. Oh, by the way, husband, don't you have nothing to do recently? Since you are so worried about our mother, why don't you go on a trip with our mother? Is this tour group safe? What if it's a scam? Zhang Zhuan still has some brains at this moment, knowing that cheap things are not good. Yes, son, you have been so hard at home recently. Why don't you go out with me to relax? Maybe the air in India can make your luck better. When my mother-in-law heard that I asked my husband to go with her, she immediately stepped forward and said, And don't you trust your Aunt Shang's recommendation? Your Aunt Shang's son is the general manager of a foreign company. This time it was him who got the quota. Your Aunt Shang took me with her because we are neighbors. She must not be a liar. Aunt Shang's son is the general manager of a foreign company. In fact, it is a shell company that specializes in deceiving people. In my previous life, I advised my mother-in-law that this was a liar, and she cursed at me directly, thinking that I couldn't stand her as a result. In this life, it was her son's turn to doubt, and she became friendly. Since the beginning of marriage, my mother-in-law has been picky about me. Zhang Zhaowan is from a single-parent family. He was raised by my mother-in-law from childhood to adulthood, so my mother-in-law has a strong possessiveness of Zhang Zhuan. When we first got married, she slept in our marriage bed in the middle of the night and often helped Zhang Zhuan take a bath. I have advised Zhang Zhuan countless times that children should avoid their mothers when they grow up, but Zhang Zhuan didn't think so. After my mother-in-law found out about this, she started to hold a grudge against me and often told her sisters that I was not good to her. As a result, after I died in my previous life, everyone thought it was a punishment from God. In this life, I don't care what the two of us do. Without waiting for Zhang Zhuan to answer, my mother-in-law picked up her phone and sent a message to her good sister, asking her to help reserve a spot. Son, we can go out and spend time together later. After that, my mother-in-law returned to her room. After my mother-in-law left, Zhang Zhuan's face suddenly darkened. Didn't I ask you to persuade my mother not to go? What's wrong with you? You are the guy and I am the bad guy. You are quite good at dealing with things. Husband, my mother has never been very satisfied with me. This time, she wants to go out for a trip, and it's so cheap, so let her go, I said with a wronged look on my face. 199 yuan for a 7-day trip during the National Day. Linzu, can you use your brain? Do you think this thing is credible? Zhang Zhuan was very angry. Wow, you also know it's not credible. Didn't you believe it in your previous life? I rolled my eyes in my heart, but pretended for a while on the surface. Honey, that's Aunt Shang. Recently I heard that overseas travel is very popular, and those who have cooperation with our company don't need to pay for overseas travel. There is a 10-day trip to Europe during the National Day holiday, and you don't have to spend a penny, and you can even bring your family members. So I think Aunt Shang will definitely not lie to us. The 10-day trip to Europe during the National Day holiday was indeed real, but it was a reward from the company. They achieved 2 years' sales in just half a year, so the boss waved his hand and let them go on a trip during the National Day. Seeing that Zhang Zhuan was a little moved, but still a little hesitant, I planned to add some bait. And husband, I heard that the scenery and women in India are even more beautiful, and the price is cheap. Our family is rich enough to go to India. Look at you, you are handsome and rich, and there will definitely be many people in India who will fall in love with you. Husband, why don't you not go? I'm worried that you will be snatched away by someone. Zhang Zhuan couldn't help but raise his mouth when he heard my compliment. That's right. With my appearance, if it weren't for your family's large dowry, would I agree to marry you? Okay, I'm worried about mom going out alone, so I'll accompany her. When the time comes, you can transfer 5,000 yuan to me, and we can be cool and cool. I don't know why some men are really inexplicably narcissistic and never see their own sis. Zhang Zhuan has nothing but a face. If he hadn't done something to make me pregnant, would I have married him? Of course I was blind back then. This also became a means for his family to control our family. My parents wanted to get more dowry items so that Zhang Zhuan would treat me better, but just after we got married, my mother-in-law carelessly killed my child, and I have never been pregnant since then. Look at Zhang Zhuan now, with a scruffy beard, greasy face, and a foul smell from his mouth from time to time. Because of long-term lack of exercise, the fat on his belly has accumulated layer by layer. Does he really think that others are not picky? When he was young, Zhang Shangguan could be said to be a pretty boy, but now, husband, please talk to our mother and ask her and Aunt Shang for another quote. I also want to go. I haven't been abroad yet. I gently shook Zhang Zhuan's arm and said coquettishly. Zhang Zhuan shook my hand away. What do you need to see as a woman? We men go out to fight for our careers. You just stay at home and make money. After that, he turned and went back to the bedroom. I sat on the sofa and thought quietly, if our career depends on Jiang Zhuan's hard work, then we can save a lot of trouble every day and save a lot of money. After all, the northwest wind is free. I believe that Jiang Zhuan's career is as hard as a sow climbing a tree. Suddenly, an idea flashed in my mind. Our family has the habit of buying insurance just in case. I seem to be a rich woman, but those two people are going out for fun during the National Day holiday just in time. I can also sign up for a luxury tour group for myself and take this opportunity to take my parents out for fun. Since I got married, Zheng Zhuan and my mother-in-law are always afraid that I will use money to subsidize my parents. But my parents' pension is enough, and it has always been my parents who subsidize us. When I couldn't go to work after I was pregnant in Zurich, Zhang Zhuan was also staying at home. It was my parents who secretly sent me money so that I could get through that period. This time, I don't want to let those two people rob their parents again. Linzu, go buy me travel things. My best friend sent me the list. You buy according to the list. My mother-in-law came out of the bedroom and ordered me arrogantly. Okay, Mom. I agreed and then opened the shopping app. I specifically picked expensive things to buy. After all, it wasn't me who spent the money, so I didn't feel bad. Doesn't my mother-in-law brag about how filial her son is to everyone she meets? Then let his son pay for this trip. At the same time, I also ordered a pinhole camera, which was specially installed on the pendant that Zhang Zhuan often wore, because I wanted to see with my own eyes what would happen to them in this life. After placing the order, I started to look at the domestic travel guide. My mother has always wanted to go to Beijing for a look, and it happened to be the National Day holiday, so I wanted to take them to fulfill their travel dream. After comprehensive comparison, I chose a luxury tour group, which directly took our family of three to play in the surrounding cities, with Beijing as the starting point. Lin Zhu, have you cooked? Do you want to starve me to death? Come on, can you play games? Jiang Zhuan's irritable voice came from the bedroom, and the laughter of her and her sisters came from the mother-in-law's room. A group of people imagined going to India soon to experience the fresh air abroad. I'll go cook now. Then I opened the software and bought pre-prepared dishes. They were going to India soon, and their stomachs were not worthy of eating good dishes, so they had to adapt first. In less than half an hour, the pre-prepared dishes I ordered arrived. I took it to the kitchen, heated in water, and served it on the table. Everything looked good, smelled good, and had all the chemical elements. Mom, husband, it's time to eat. I set the table and started to pack up to go out for a good meal. My mother-in-law just came out of the bedroom and saw me getting ready to go out. Why aren't you eating at home? Mom, there's an emergency meeting at the company, and I need to work overtime. You're going to work overtime? There's no one in your company. If I ask you to work overtime, who will do the housework? Who will wash the dishes? My mother-in-law doesn't care whether I work overtime or not. She only cares whether she has to wash dishes and do house. Mom, the boss said that the overtime pay will be tripled. Then why don't I not go? I pretended to put down my things. Jiang Zhuan came out and heard triple overtime pay. Are you stupid? Triple overtime pay if you don't go. Get out. When the two heard that I had overtime pay, they immediately asked me to leave. I left the house and found a restaurant to have a good meal. Since I got married, I have not eaten out. I prepare meals on time every day and go to work. When I come back, there are only a pile of leftovers. After dinner, I went to the mall to buy things for our trip. In order to prevent being discovered, I put all the things back to the company. After returning home, I saw the untied dishes on the table, and I threw them into the trash indecisively, then went back to the room and moved them to the study room on the grounds of overtime. Soon it was time to travel abroad. Mother-in-law and Jiang Zhuan told everyone that they were going abroad these days and promised the neighbors to bring back local specialties when the time came. Neighbor Lin Yi is a retired teacher. When he heard that his mother-in-law was going to travel to India, he advised her, "It's not safe over there. It's very chaotic. You better not go." Lin Yi had kindly reminded her, but the mother-in-law was so angry that she immediately put her hands on her hips and spit. "What's wrong with you in India? You're just jealous of the good development there. You don't have a son to take you out to play, but I have a son to take you out to play." You are jealous that I moved next to my house. So you compare me everywhere. Aren't you just relying on your own education? In the end, didn't the old man run away with someone else? Your spouse? He wanted to persuade his mother-in-law, but he didn't expect to be blamed, and his scars were exposed in public. He fainted without a breath. In fact, Aunt Lynn is also a poor person. She had an unhappy marriage when she was young, which led to her being alone now. After I learned the news, I took some fruit to visit Aunt Lynn in the hospital. Fortunately, it was nothing serious. She was just angry, so she just needed to rest at home. Since then, although everyone knows that India is not good, no one dares to persuade my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law and Jiangxia, when we're ready to go out with their things, and they wanted me to take them to the airport, I directly said I have to work overtime at the company. In this way, I sent the mother and daughter away with a little gloating and reluctance. If nothing unexpected happens, it should be difficult for us to meet again. After sending them off, I went back to the company to pack all the things I bought and went back to my parents' home. When my parents opened the door, they were very surprised to see me back. Daughter, why are you back? Mom asked in surprise. I went forward and hugged Mom, and tears could not stop falling. Dad came over and saw the scene. He thought I was bullied by Zhang Xuan and immediately rolled up his sleeves to find Zhang Xuan to settle the score. I quickly stopped him. Dad, I haven't seen you for a long time and I miss you very much. Dad saw that there were no scars on my body, so he was relieved. The two hurriedly welcomed me in. Wife, my daughter's back. I'll go downstairs to buy vegetables. Let's make something my daughter likes. Dad picked up the bag and prepared to go out. No need, Dad. Let's go to the airport to eat. You packed your clothes now. What are you packing for? Mom and Dad asked in confusion. It's just right that I'll take you to Beijing during the National Day holiday. Mom, aren't you the one who wants to go to Beijing the most? Does Zhang Xuan and your mother-in-law know? Dad asked. He didn't believe that Zhang Xuan and his mother-in-law would allow me to take them out to play. Every time I go back to my mother's house, the two of them want to check my bag to see if I have brought anything back to my mother's house. Dad, don't worry about them this time. Don't want to live with Zhang Zhuan and his family. I carefully expressed my thoughts. Okay, that's great. Mom and Dad support you. Mom and Dad held my hand happily. My daughter is finally going to escape from the sea of suffering. Okay, Lao Lin, let's pack up quickly. It's rare for my daughter to take us out to play. Don't waste time. Mom gently wiped away the tears from the corners of her eyes. She had always been reluctant to come to see me in order to make Xiang Zhuan's family treat me better for fear that I would be embarrassed by my in-laws. This time I finally don't have to suffer any more grievances. Every year, the old couple would spend the Chinese New Year together, and I couldn't come back. Now it's different. I can stay with my parents every day. Soon we packed up and came to the airport, and everything went smoothly. While waiting at the airport, I opened my moments, and what caught my eye was a selfie of Zhang Zhuan and my mother-in-law with the caption, India, we're here? Well, India welcomes you. There's no return. Just as I was browsing my moments, the sound of boarding came from the broadcast, and I put away my phone to get ready to board. We slept and woke up in Jiexing. After putting down our luggage, we went to various scenic spots to start taking photos. During this period, Zhang Zhuan and my mother-in-law ever called me. Every day they posted on their moment show good India is, but in fact, they hadn't left the country yet. I found through the camera that the tour group didn't take them to the airport at all, but took them in a dilapidated bus. At first, the few people were talking in a friendly manner, but when everyone got on the bus, everyone's face changed. The tour guide asked them to pay another 5,000 yuan each. The mother-in-law was unwilling and stared at Aunt Shang in front of her fiercely. Mrs. Jane, didn't you say that you can travel abroad for 199? You lied to me. After that, the mother-in-law wanted to step forward to tickle Aunt Shang, but was pushed to the ground by the tour guide. The tour guide said to the mother-in-law fiercely, be quiet. Either pay me or I will keep you here. I won't pay. I'd already paid 199 yuan. Why should I pay more? And aren't we going to India to play? How can such a remote place be India? The mother-in-law held her hands up and directly rejected the request of the tour guide. A crisp slap sounded, and the mother-in-law was knocked to the ground. She looked at the other party in disbelief, as if she didn't expect that he would really tear. I'll tell you again, pay me the money right now. Otherwise, it won't be as simple as a slap. There's no village or shop here. If there's a wild beast, I can't guarantee it. The tour guide threatened everyone. Others were afraid that they would be left behind, so they paid the money. At this time, the mother-in-law still didn't want to pay, and Zhang Xuan paid his share directly to save his life. You are so pretty. If you don't want to pay, you can. The tour guide looked at the mother-in-law. The mother-in-law was frightened by the other party's eyes and immediately chose to pay. After paying the money, the car became quiet and no one dared to speak. In the end, the bus drove to the border, and until late at night, the group of tour guides lead a group of people to quietly cross the border. When I woke up the next day and turned on my phone to check, a group of people had already arrived in Myanmar, so this trip was not India at all. After arriving in Myanmar, the mother-in-law and Zhang Zhuan started all kinds of shooting. In China, Zhang Zhuan didn't have so many opportunities to meet all kinds of beauties. He could only be a wretched man on the internet. But after arriving in Myanmar, Zhang Xuan just arrived at the hotel, and a group of beauties came up to him, one for each person, and directly drunk Zhang Zhuan in the gentle countryside and couldn't walk at all. And the mother-in-law took photos with the locals on the side. As long as all kinds of people wanted to take photos, the mother-in-law would accept them. I forgot to say that the dream of the mother-in-law when she was young was to be a star. At that time, the mother-in-law was one of the most beautiful women in their place. Many people praised her for being beautiful and will definitely be a movie star in the future. After being praised so much, the mother-in-law also felt that she would definitely be a star, but at that time there was no money and could not afford to send her to acting school. It happened that a big director was auditioning for the heroine of a movie, and the mother-in-law went to sign up. Unfortunately, she was rejected in the audition. At that time, the mother-in-law told everyone that there was no money for gifts at home. Later, after marrying my father-in-law, she still dreamed of being a star and did not do any housework at home. If it weren't for my father-in-law's constant hard work, this family would have fallen apart sooner or later. My father-in-law died in an accident before he could live a good life. The company gave my mother-in-law a large amount of compensation. With the insurance, my mother-in-law has been living a good life, but she has never given up her dream of becoming a star. The popularity of short videos has made her dream of becoming an internet celebrity. My mother-in-law has taken good care of herself. Although she is almost 50 years old, she looks only in her 30s. So she has indeed attracted a group of people on the internet, but unfortunately she has never become popular. This time in Myanmar, she experienced the feeling of being the center of attention. A group of men came up to ask for a photo. The mother-in-law in the photo is smiling like a flower. But mother-in-law, did you see the eyes of the group of men behind you? In this way, the two of them had a delicious time in Myanmar. My mother-in-law also posted a video with the text, "It's so nice here." At first, everyone praised her a few words, but later someone found something wrong. The IP address was in Myanmar. After seeing the eyes of the men in the mother-in-law's photo, many people began to persuade her, and many people sent the latest news to her, hoping that she would return home quickly. But the mother-in-law ignored the advice of others. Instead, she thought that everyone was jealous of her, so she responded to every commentary that advised her. Some girls are young and have not experienced these things. Because of some of the words of the mother-in-law, all the fans went to make yellow rumors about the girls. However, the mother-in-law also kicked the iron plate. One of the girls directly obtained evidence one by one from those who maliciously made yellow rumors. Although the mother-in-law is now abroad, whether she can come back is still one thing, but those fans are all in China. They just have no sense of existence in real life and find some sense of existence on the internet. Maybe the internet can poke this group of people more. Unfortunately, they thought the little girl was easy to bully, but in fact they had already kicked the iron plate. One by one, they deleted the comments and apologized on the homepage. Only then did the little girl let this group of people go. After this incident, those who had advised the mother-in-law told everyone in the commentariat to respect the anchor's choice. It is difficult to persuade the damn ghost with good words. I resigned directly after returning from my trip. I gave up my favorite job because of marriage. Now I want to find myself again. After returning home, I moved all my things to the house I just rented. While waiting for work news, I watched the video of Jiang Xuan and his mother-in-law. When they first arrived in Myanmar, they lived well. One was lying in the land of tenderness and couldn't get out, and the other was obsessed with her dream of becoming a star. Every day, I could see Jiang Xuan's circle of friends hugging left and right. Many mutual friends commented below, "Brother, you are so lucky. When will you take me with you? Brother, aren't you afraid that your sister-in-law will know?" Xiang Zhuan replied, "How can the yellow-faced woman at home be as fragrant as wild flowers? The women here are all small and pretty. The yellow-faced woman at home can't compare at all, and Lin Zhu doesn't dare to divorce me. Who else would want her except me? A woman who can't have children." Seeing this, I was furious. Who is the reason for my becoming like this? Can't have children. Is it all my fault? But in fact, if I hadn't had an abortion, he would have asked me to do housework and gave me food without any nutrition, which caused me to have a root of illness. When it rains, my lower abdomen will ache. At that time, there was a saying that as long as you take good care of yourself in the next month, the previous month's sickness will be cured. So from then on, I thought about having another child, but because Zheng Zhuan has been squandering his body has become weak, and the doctor found out that it was his problem. If we want to have a child, we can only do it through test tubes. But he didn't admit that he had a problem. I really wanted to divorce, but I didn't divorce now, not because I was afraid that no one would want me. Besides, who said that women must rely on men to live? I can also live my own life. Late at night, a burst of urgent mobile phone rings came, and I picked up the phone in a daze and answered the call. "Lin Zhu, send me money quickly. 200,000, transfer it to my card." Zhang Xuan's irritable voice came from the other end of the phone. I didn't react for a while. "Who are you?" "I'm your husband. Can't you even recognize your husband's voice? Send me money quickly." Zhang Xuan's voice was a little trembling, and I guess the people on the other end were impatient with him, and the sound of sticks came from time to time. "My husband is traveling abroad. How could he call me in the middle of the night?" "You are a liar." After saying that, I hung up the phone. Because of this phone call, I was completely awake. I turned on my phone to check the video and saw that Xiang Zhuan was beaten by the people on the other side because I hung up the phone. Xiang Zhuan knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. They gave people a taste of sweetness at the beginning to let people relax their vigilance, and then took measures. Although I don't know what will happen over there, I have heard that the means over there are very cruel. If they can't achieve their goals, they will take another way. Then my phone received a WeChat message, which was a video sent by Zhang Zhuan. In the video, Zhang Zhuan was beaten with a stick and his head was bleeding. The whole person was not as bright and beautiful as during the day. As the stick fell, Zhang Zhang's show rang throughout the room. "If you want your husband to live, transfer 1 million to this card." Let's not talk about whether I have 1 million. Even if I have 1 million in transfers, Zhang Zhuan can't come back. I replied, "My family has no money. Where did the 1 million come from? Also, who knows if you are a liar? Technology is so advanced now. Not to mention, if I have 1 million, I won't give it to you even if I have it. Those people won't let me go after getting the money, and all this is Zhang Xuan's own fault." He clearly knew that there is no cheap lunch in the world, but he still chose to go. He knew that the 199 yuan forward tour group was not trustworthy, but he still felt lucky. But he didn't expect that God would not favor him unconditionally, and he had many opportunities to escape along the way. He should have thought of a way to escape when he paid 5,000 yuan and crossed the border. At worst, he could have found an opportunity in the first few days after arriving in Myanmar, but he didn't, and instead indulged in the gentle countryside. This time he will stay there, seeing that I was unmoved. The other side had to vent his anger on Zhang Zhuan. Zhang Zhuan kept dodging the sticks, and his two hands couldn't stop the sticks from falling on his body. All kinds of punishments fell on Zhang Zhuan, and he was finally tortured to incontinence before he was let go. Zhang Zhuan didn't understand why he was just traveling. He was still holding a beautiful woman in his arms during the day, but he became a different person at night. The pain all over his body made Zhang Zhuan dare not resist, so he had to obey and do whatever he was told to do. But if he had no value in that place, he would only be eliminated. Unfortunately, Zhang Zhuan did not bring much value to them there, but his mother-in-law brought them great value. They forced her to go to those hotels because she was well-maintained and mature, which attracted many people. At first, the mother-in-law was unwilling, but Zhang Zhuan persuaded her to survive and designed her. In the end, the mother-in-law compromised and embarked on a road of no return. Zhang Shangzhuan is still alive now because his mother-in-law brought great value. The group of people were worried that they could not control her without Zhang Zhuan, but they could avoid the death penalty, but they could not escape the living crime. Zhang Zhuan was beaten every day and had no food to eat. Over time, he had the idea of escaping, but the place was heavily guarded and he could not escape alone. In order to be beaten less, Zhang Xuan could only work twice as hard every day, but his performance was still very low. Late at night, Zhang Xuan got up to go to the bathroom and accidentally heard the group of people discussing getting rid of these worthless people, including Zhang Xuan. Zhang Xuan knew that if he didn't take action, he would be completely finished. Fortunately, he had discovered a dog hole here before. According to his previous body size, he would definitely not be able to get through it, but now he has lost a lot of weight due to long-term hunger, so he can get through. Jiang Zhuan was worried that there was not enough time, so he didn't dare to wait until dawn, so he quietly packed up and prepared to leave. He had observed before that every midnight the guards would change shifts and there was 1 minute to escape. Jiang Zhuan took advantage of the 1 minute of the shift change to quickly find the dog hole and get out. But because he was anxious, he was stuck for a while. He couldn't bear to leave his luggage and wanted to take the luggage with him. But the 1 minute time was up soon, and Zhang Zhuan had no choice but to leave his luggage and get out. Zhang Zhuan, who escaped, didn't know where to go, and he didn't have a map on him, so he could only walk aimlessly and walk wherever he saw a road, but he didn't dare to take those main roads, only the small roads. Soon Zhang Zhuan was discovered to have escaped, and they quickly found him following the traces he left. Hearing the sound behind him, Zhang Zhuan felt as if he was being chased, but it was actually just the sound of the wind, and he panicked and fell off the cliff. The people chasing him found him the next day and saw that he had fallen off the cliff and left. As for me in China, I haven't received any news since the last time I received a message. Today, I just received the admission information from my favorite company, and I packed up happily and went to the company, but my cell phone rang. I didn't recognize the phone number, but I subconsciously felt that this number was telling me about Zhang Zhuan. Ms. Li, do you know Zhang Zhuan? The other party asked. I know him. He is my husband. What's wrong? I replied. It's like this, Ms. Lin, we received a report from the Myanmar police. Zhang Zhuan was traveling in Myanmar and accidentally fell off a cliff, but because it happened in the middle of the night, no one noticed it. When he was found the next morning, he had no vital signs. Because the body could not be brought up from the bottom of the cliff, the police there had already investigated the scene and found no trace of anyone else, so it was confirmed that he fell off the cliff accidentally. The tour guide also confirmed that Jiang Zhuan left the tour group alone at night, which led to the misfortune. I asked about my mother-in-law. The reply was my mother-in-law didn't want to come back after experiencing the pain of losing her son, but I knew that my mother-in-law would not come back this time. Zhang Zhuan's accidental death made the insurance we bought before effective, and I successfully received Zhang Zhuan's compensation. By the way, I was the beneficiary. This is why I don't want to divorce after being reborn. From now on, I can live my own life, and a shining life is waving at me.